Hi friends, it's Catherine Allendorf from Scrap Happy Cath. I'm just have another video ready for you today to support the February challenge that's happening over on my Scrap Happy Cath Facebook group, where I'm challenging you to use up your scraps. So I am a Creative Memories advisor in Australia. You can shop with me at creativememoriesau.com/user/Scrap Happy Cath, and I would appreciate your business. And feel free to join the Facebook group Scrap Happy Cath. So the layout that I've got to show you today to use up your scraps, it is an old one from a virtual crop a little while ago. So you can see that it is a terrific way to use up your scraps, top and bottom here. It could easily be done as a single page layout. You could choose either of these pages depending on how your photos work for you, or expand it across the two pages. So again, I'm going to be dipping back into my scrap bin, which I've already done. So as I mentioned in my last video, I keep all my scraps, just my little teeny offcuts and things, in a scrap bin. So I've already gone through and chosen some papers. Actually, that one's not going to look so flash. Those colours aren't so good. I don't know why that's there. I have already gone through and chosen some papers that I think I would like to use for this layout. And they're leftovers, obviously, from all sorts of things, but the colours kind of coordinate. So when I do this, I do choose a main piece that will inform my colour choices. So I'm going to use this one. This is from an old Creative Memories collection that I used to do an album for my second son. But you can see the colours are very beautiful. There's like these blues and sage greens, and the orange is really pretty, the little buttercup yellow. So I have chosen scraps from all sorts of collections, but the colours are quite cohesive. So the way that I do it is I'll choose my main piece with the colours that I like, and then I'll take other pieces and just pop them behind and see if they work with that colour. So this is an old variety mat from a long time ago. Some of you may or may not recognise them. So I've got some other pieces from the same variety mat pack, and you can see that those colours are working in really nicely with them. I might use this one for a photo mat later on. I'll put that one aside and see. Okay, so that's how I do it. I start building up my colours like this, and you can see whether or not the colours are going to work together. So you can see this is from an old National Scrapbook Day collection, as is this one. This is from an old National Scrapbook Day, and the other side works just as nicely as well. You can see that. Okay, so remember, the Creative Memories papers generally are double-sided unless you've got very, very old Creative Memories. So this one, for example, is not double-sided. That's very old, but yeah, you may as well use it. It works. So you can see all of these. You can start building up how your palette for how you want this layout to start building up. So they're all working nicely together. So they're all working beautifully. All right, so that's how I choose the papers that I'm going to work with. So the next step will be to start cutting these strips into, as you can see, lots and lots of 1/2-inch strips. Okay, we're not going to worry about the length at the moment, so I'll take you through this later on. But right now, I need to start cutting all of these pieces into 1/2-inch strips. So I'll go ahead and do that. So for that, I'll be using my Creative Memories 12-inch trimmer. I always rave on about this trimmer because I honestly believe that this is the best trimmer on the market. I'll just show you a few things with it, just in case you're not aware. All right, so when you're cutting your strips, I'll just show you, the trimmer does have inch markings because when we're scrapbooking, we work in inches, right? But for those who prefer to work in metric, it actually does have centimeters on here as well. All right. The mat has 4 turns at it. So 1, 2, and then you flip it over. 3 and 4. Okay, so if you have one of these trimmers and you find that your cuts aren't as sharp as you would like them to be, first thing that you need to do is turn your mat over or get a new mat. Do that before you change your blade. Okay, so that is the most likely reason that your cuts aren't as sharp as you would like them to be. Okay, so to change your blade over the housing unit, you just flick it up and then you can swap your blade out. All right, and it does come with a lot of other decorative blades underneath there. Okay, and it's just a matter of taking out the blade that you want to work with, and you just pop that into the housing and then you're ready to go. So what we need to do is to start trimming these pieces down into 1/2 inch strips. So to do that, just bear in mind that some of your papers will be directional. So you can see that this one is directional. So I don't want to cut it this way because the strips need to be sitting vertically along the page. All right, so what I need to do is cut 1/2 inch strips this way across the design, and then it will sit on the page vertically like so. All right, now because this strip is already that width, that's obviously what I'm stuck with a little bit, but that's okay. We will work that into our design. So we just measure, we've got our 1 inch mark here, we just measure that down to 1/2 inch, and we can start cutting our strips. So I'm going to go ahead and do that rather than make you watch this, and I'll come back to you shortly. Alright, so I have all my pieces cut down now to 1/2 inch strips. The reason that you want 1/2 inch strips is because you want them to be spaced evenly across the page. The page is 12 inches wide, so we know that a 1/2 inch is going to fit in exactly across the page there. But we don't want 1 inch strips because it's going to be too wide. Okay, so you can see we now have a load of strips all cut out. They're 1/2 inch wide, so now we just need to trim them all to length. So you can see that the strips are varying lengths, so we do want them trimmed to varying lengths here to create that effect. So I would suggest the maximum length would be 3 inches, and probably the minimum length would be about 2¼ inches, just so that you have the effect of the wave going up and down the page, but that the strips aren't too long, any more than 3 inches, I think, and they're going to start encroaching over to your photo space, and we don't want that. But I think anything less than, say, 2¼ inches, and they're going to be too short, and you're going to lose the effect of it. All right, so to cut them to length, you can either do it with your trimmer, and you just start trimming them to whatever length you would like, obviously anywhere between 2¼ and 3½ inches. So you can just start going ahead and trimming them to random lengths. Right. Alternatively, you can use your personal trimmer, and you can cut things to lengths using your personal trimmer. The personal trimmer does have your 1 inch, 1/2 inch and 1/4 inch markings on there, so you can make sure that you're cutting them to the correct lengths. Okay, so it's your personal preference what you'd like to do with that. So I have all my strips cut out and cut down to length now, so it's time to start looking at arranging them across the page. So just a little tip when you're arranging your papers. So we've used this strip as the piece that's informed the color palette that we're using, but not every single piece is going to look fantastic right next to each other. Okay, so for example, personally, I don't like these ones right next to each other. I don't think it's great, but what you can do is just make sure that when you're assembling them, you just pop pieces next to each other that are complementary, and what you'll find is you'll come to a point where those complementary colors are actually working with other papers in your color range. So for example, I don't think that looks terribly terrific next to that, but it does look nice over there next to that. So what I would do to join, see, you could probably join them up already, and that's looking quite nice there. So if you've got a color, a patterned paper like that, and you're not really confident putting it next to another pattern paper, just pop a neutral in there next to it, and that will help guide your pattern paper across that strip there. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. So here's one I've prepared earlier where I'm happy with the layout of those papers down on the cardstock. I've chosen a dark cardstock because it's going to match in with what I'm doing, and I think it works really nicely with these very neutral kind of colours that I'm using. So it's time to start adhering these down onto the paper. So what I'll do is just start with, I'll start at the edge, okay, and just start adhering these down. Your repositionable tape runner is going to be your best friend with this, because you can pick up your pieces and move them around if you need to, if you're not happy with them. Okay, so we'll start popping them down. The other tip is when you're popping your pieces down, we have already pre-cut these pieces to our desired length. But if you are popping a piece down and you feel like it's too long and you're not happy with that length, you can just lay it down on the page. I'll just do this quickly and show you. Okay, so if you're not happy with it being that long, for example, against that that piece there, what you can do is just adhere it a little bit closer to the edge of the page, and then later on what we can do is just go along and trim off any pieces that are hanging over the edge there that you're not happy with. So I have my pieces all put down now, but you can see there are a few instances where I wasn't 100% happy with the length of them. So all I need to do is, using my trimmer, just need to pop this so that the edge of the cardstock meets up with the trimming line, and we just go over that and trim those pieces off. All right, and then there, all nice and even there. So that is the top row done. So I just need to go ahead and do this on the bottom row as well. And then of course, if you were doing a double page layout, then you need to do that again, replicate that over onto the next page. So I'll go ahead and start laying that out and come back to you when that's finished. Alrighty, so I've just finished putting the remainder of the strips down on the bottom portion of my layout, and I've just got everything stuck to my desk now. Fantastic. The beauty of the repositionable tape, though, you can see you just wipe it away. It's fantastic stuff. All right, so when I was doing this bottom one, I just wasn't happy with the lengths that I had cut everything to. So you can see that most of them have been adhered at different lengths onto the paper. So all I need to do now is just again turn that over and trim that off. And you know what, there's nothing stopping you from just trimming everything to 2 inches, if you I beg your pardon, to 3 inches, and then just laying your pieces on the page and then just trimming them off after you finish laying them out, just like that. All right, and that will give you the same result. We have our borders ready, so it's time to just start creating these extra pieces to embellish the border. So I'll show you how I've done it for this one, and I'll show you the technique to create this little twist. Now these shapes are created using the Creative Memories Decorative Trimmer, which is a really great little tool to create these beautiful wave shapes. Okay, so I do have some cardstock that I've picked out to create my borders. As you can see, they're just more leftover pieces from other projects, so these are going to come in really handy. So to use your wave trimmer, because we've got a straight edge, we need to create a wave edge. So I just bring mine up. You can see on the trimmer, it actually has 1 inch marking, so you can see that that's 1 inch from the cut line that you're going to make here. So I just pop mine up to the next, I think that's about 1/8 of an inch or so. I beg your pardon, I think that's about 1/4 of an inch. So I just bring my paper up to the 1/4 inch mark, and what that's going to do is make sure that I've got enough paper on the edge between this swell of the wave. Okay, so I'll just line it up with that 1/4 inch mark, pop it down, and then just bring my cutting blade across, and you can see it creates that beautiful wave shape. Okay, so I'll just do that with my blue pieces as well, and then we'll trim them off. Okay, so we'll just mark it up to the 1/4 inch mark, just cut it down and bring that across. Okay, and we've got these beautiful swells. Okay, so I'm just going to trim these off to a 1 inch mark. Just bring this over. So what I'm doing is just bringing this up so the swell is lined up with the 1 inch line. And then just bring this down, and it's a little bit not quite right. Okay, we'll trim that off. Okay, so we have our pieces. We'll just pop them on the page top and bottom. I'm just going to lay this out and see how it looks before I adhere anything down. Okay, so to make the twist that goes along the top, if you're going to use the twist, again, we're using the decorative trimmer, and to do that, you just, this one's already had a wave cut out of it, so it's up to you the width. For the one that I'm going to use, I'm just again going to use probably the 1/4 inch mark again. Okay, just to make a very thin twist. Okay, we'll do the same with this blue. It's another piece that I had left over from another project. The tones work in if you wanted to use this on this layout. Right. So once you have your two pieces cut out, then what you do is you place them so that the swells are appearing on the opposite side. So you can see that the swell is up, down, up, and this one needs to be down, up, down. Okay, so we just pop the two top pieces together, and then we twist them where the swell point starts to go down and then up. Okay, and we just twist them around. They almost naturally do it. Okay, and then you could pop that across the layout like that. So that's how you make a twist. Now these twists, you can do it with 3 pieces, you can do it wider if you choose to, but that is how you make the twist using the decorative trimmer there. So for myself, for this layout, I'm actually not going to do that. I'm going to go on and do something else. So I'm just going to adhere down my pieces for the top and bottom borders. Okay, now you don't have to do this. You could put a straight piece along the bottom. You could punch a border out if you wanted to. Punch a border out and put a border top and bottom. Obviously you can use stickers, laser borders, whatever you prefer to use on your layout. Okay, so I'm just showing you the technique that I've used for my layout. Okay, and I have some stickers left over from another collection that I'm just going to use with this one, just because it suits what I'm trying to do with my layout. A little bit of repositionable tape there, we'll just wipe that off. Okay, so so these are the photos that I'm using that are, so I'm just going to work out how I'm going to place these on the page. This is the piece of paper I showed at the beginning where I wanted to use that as a photo mat, and I think that suits that photo really nicely. And these are, this is one of the old mats that I was talking about, and this is actually another old mat too that I've cut down. Okay, and that's going to go behind this photo and pick up that blue really nicely. So we'll just pop these ones down. Okay, I don't measure, I just eyeball it, and it but if you like to measure, then obviously you can use a zero centering ruler or however you prefer to do it. Okay, so I'm just going to give that one a double mat, and that is actually not going to fit, so I'm just going to pop that down over the border there, and I think that'll work okay. Okay, we'll just pop you down on there. Alright, and I have some little embellishments left from another kit, so I'm just going to pop them along the bottom there, like that. You could use 3D foam squares if you wanted to, just to pop them up off the page. So finally, I just have this little sentiment that I've got from another kit. This actually came out of a mystery box. So if you're ever wondering if mystery boxes are worth getting, I think 100% yes, because you get things that you aren't going to get elsewhere. So I'm just going to pop that one down. That would actually look really good if we pop that up with a little bit of 3D foam squares actually. But I'm just going to pop that on there like that, and that's my layout done. So obviously if you wanted to do a double page layout, then you just repeat the process again. Okay, look, it's not a super fast layout, but it is a fantastic way to use up your scraps, and incredibly effective, and honestly once you've got all those pieces cut, then your double page layout will come together really quickly. So that's our layout done. I will have a look at the blog and get the original sketch for the layout and post it in the comments. If you like it, give me a like, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and you'll be able to get notified the next time I post something up onto my channel. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, if you like it, you can follow me at Scrap Happy Cath on Facebook and shop with me, creativememoriesau.com/user/scraphappycath. Enjoy that, have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time.